Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. Hi guys, new Jay Foreman video. It's a great day. Preemptive like, hope you're all doing well. Mattman, Jay Foreman. The link to the original video, top of the description. Below that, link to the Discord. I'd love to have you. Let's go. I am good over here. Okay.
Can you imagine a world without the internet?
Yes, and it was marvellous.
Welcome to Map Men.
We're the men.
And here's the map.
Map men, map men,
Men.
Although most of us use the internet at least every other day, nobody understands how it works.
All we know is that it's very big, very clever, very important, and impossible to show on a map.
Then why are we doing an episode about it?
Because I was lying. Take a look at this map. It shows all the undersea cables that connect the world's computers. And
Jeez, Red Sea.
looking at this map reveals a surprising amount about how the modern world works.
Wow, Saudi Arabia is just surrounded by tons of wires.
Whilst we can't wait to show you all the weirdest and wonderfulest bits of this exciting chart, before the geography lesson we need to put the globes that fell off the wall back on the wall and then give you a quick history lesson. For the vast majority of human history, a message could only travel as fast as a human, meaning it was normal to wait days or even months to receive a very important message.
Very slightly faster methods did exist. Smoke signals, water clocks, beacons, flags.
But these only worked.
I say this all the time. Biggest invention ever. First instant communication, or close to instant. Imagine all the stuff that could have been avoided in history if, like, it must have, in some cases, I'm sure it took months to go, like, take a message somewhere. And by the time you got there, it's been months. So stuff could have completely changed. And then you have to go back and warfare, trade, everything. Just transformed everything.
For predetermined messages. If you wanted to send a completely original thought, such as Thursday my dungarees fish basket hollybobs, that was impossible. Until...
In 1777, a French chap called Claude Chappe invented a way to send long-distance messages using an alphabet made up of symbols that could be seen from a very long way away. On a hilltop, one person operated a machine that could rotate the position of two large sticks.
And on another hilltop, a second person would copy the shape, relaying it onto the next hill, and so on, until it was finally decoded at the other end.
Chappe called his system the telegraph, from the French telegraph, from the Greek telegraph.
It was now possible to send a message from Paris to Lille in just 12 minutes rather than the usual 12 hours.
Sacré bleu!
At its peak, the French telegraph network looked like this.
This is the earliest example of a physical network built to transmit information at high speeds across long distances. It was the beginning of the internet.
So why aren't we still using mechanical telegraphs today?
Bad question. The flaws were obvious. It only worked in the daytime, it only worked in good weather, and it required lots of highly trained workers who were vulnerable to mistakes and bribery.
Thankfully, long-distance messaging.
And in a place like the Netherlands where it's super flat, it seems like you need some, like, a relatively hilly area.
Required lots of highly trained workers who were vulnerable to mistakes and bribery.
Thankfully, long-distance messaging took a necessary huge leap forward in the 1830s, when a pair of British inventors had a much better idea: the electric telegraph.
The electric telegraph sent pulses of electricity across copper wires that could be stretched pretty much any distance. It was the beginning of the internet. A contraption like this, which by the way would be an awesome clue in an escape room, was used to convert these electric pulses into almost every letter of the alphabet.
And then a very clever man called Samuel Morse, named after Morse code, invented an easy-to-learn alphabet made up of and
Morse code was a massive improvement. It only needed 2 Ys instead of 6, you could finally send messages quickly, and you could finally spell quickly.
Morse code became a vital tool for the military, government, railways, journalism, and big business.
What is my name in Morse code?
Quickly. It only needed 2 Ys instead of 6.
Beep, 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 beep. Beep, beep, beep. Beep, beep. Beep, beep. I'm actually trying to do this. Beep. Anyways.
6, you could finally send messages quickly, and you could finally spell quickly.
Morse code became a vital tool for the military, government, railways, journalism, and big business. But if Morse code was going to achieve the absolute world domination it was surely destined for, one final hurdle had to be overcome.
The Wet Susan.
The most significant advance in telegraph technology came in 1850, when the aptly named English Channel Submarine Telegraph Company,
boring,
nervously laid the first cable under the sea, desperately hoping they wouldn't electrocute all the fish.
To the relief of haddock everywhere, it worked. The world's first submarine telegraph in the English Channel successfully allowed communication across the sea between two countries. It was the beginning of the internet.
By the mid-19th century, two enormous networks had grown in Europe and America.
The next logical step was to connect these two networks together. But the Atlantic Ocean was very big. Nobody knew how telegraph technology could traverse it.
Just get a very big wire.
Until, that is, an American businessman with a beard and no moustache, called Cyrus Westfield, finally figured it out.
We need a very long cable.
I'm a genius.
But laying a very long cable under the ocean presented some unique challenges.
It took several failed attempts to lay a cable that worked.
The first cable wasn't long enough. The second cable snapped, the third cable fell in the water, the fourth cable wasn't compatible with the fifth cable and couldn't be joined up in the middle.
I want to know how far off they were in the one that wasn't long enough.
Finally, 4 years later, Cyrus's first transatlantic cable was complete.
On August the 16th, 1858, Queen Victoria sent the very first transatlantic text message, reading,
"Glory to God in the highest, on earth peace and goodwill toward men."
And it was sent to President James Buchanan.
At just 2 minutes per letter, the message was received in little over 17 hours. The cable stopped working after just a few weeks, but it didn't matter. The technology was proven possible.
The very same cable laying technology was used to lay more and more cables all over the world, each one more reliable than the last, which grew into the phone network, which grew into the internet. It was the beginning of the internet. Which grew into the phone network, which grew into...
This looks really familiar. Is this a poster that was in like middle school?
the internet. It was the beginning of the internet. Cable laying is done pretty much the same way today.
Drop it in.
Only nowadays, when the cable's nearer the shore, they tend to
Bury it a bit.
for good measure.
But the one big difference is what's
Smart.
in the wires.
A modern subsea internet cable is about as thick as a human garden hose. The business bit carrying the actual data is a tiny bunch of fiber optic
Would've
cables.
thought-
It's coated in a protective layer.
Voice crack. I would have thought it was bigger.
Carrying
Okay.
the actual data is a tiny bunch of fiber optic cables.
It's coated in a protective layer of polyethylene, copper sheathing, aluminium or steel wires according to taste, and lovingly smothered in Vaseline.
5 minutes and 17 seconds to cover the entire history of long-distance communication, and we didn't miss a single detail out.
What about radio?
Which means we are now finally ready to take a good look at the gorgeous map of all the undersea cables that exist today. Any regrets?
No, not really.
What about buying these cheap parachutes?
Oh yeah, apart from that, yeah, that's probably the main one. What about you?
I regret that I never turned my big idea into a business reality.
Oh, what was that?
A fail-safe parachute that can't get twisted.
That's a nice idea. Why didn't you follow through with it?
Well, it was all a bit big and scary. And anyway, I never could find a good, easy-to-use e-commerce platform that worked for me.
Oh, why
Of course.
didn't you try Shopify?
Guys, please use any of their links, guys.
Shopify is an all-in-one commerce platform that makes it super easy to create an online store. You just sign up, and Shopify has everything you need to make a beautiful website, add products, set prices and deals, and handle inventory. Whatever you're selling, Shopify makes the business of growing and managing a business super easy.
Isn't mapmenmerch.com powered by Shopify?
It is, yes. Just goes to show, even a pair of absolute dunderheads like the Mapmen with no technological know-how whatsoever can cobble together some t-shirts, mugs, posters and stickers and sell them to customers all around the whole wide world.
What's a dunderhead?
If you've got something to sell, why not click the link in the description below to take the first step to starting your own business using good old Shopify.
There, I've done it. Parachutesafety.net is open for business thanks to Shopify.
And it was as easy as falling out of an aeroplane.
Shopify! Don't wait to start your big idea.
This delightful,
Classic.
colourful map from Telegeography's submarineCablemap.com is a true map of the internet. It shows all of the 552 and counting undersea cables which allow very different parts of the world to use the exact same internet.
There is, of course, a much denser network of wires over land. After all, landlocked countries deserve the internet too, but it's nowhere near as interesting to look at.
Some of the unlikely routes on this map reveal that it's cheaper and faster to lay a sea cable even when a land route is available.
Such as these ones that bounce around the outside of Africa and South America, this one that goes all the way over the top of Russia, and this one that goes from America to America.
The clear, clean and mostly straight lines of this undersea cables map, ignoring Southeast Asia, strikingly show which parts of the world are most interested in which other parts.
This one that goes from America to America.
The clear, clean and mostly straight lines of this undersea cables map, ignoring Southeast Asia, strikingly show which parts of the world are most interested in which other parts. North America and Europe, for example, have got way more cables connecting them than seemingly necessary, reflecting the huge amount of cross-continental commerce and communication that goes on between them.
Whilst data from Australia to South America is happy to take the more scenic route.
So it's perhaps no coincidence that this map so strongly resembles maps of major flight paths and shipping lanes.
It's also no coincidence that countries with the fewest cable connections tend to be the world's poorest. Just one cable serves the Gambia, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea, Sierra Leone and Liberia.
But does the number of connections you have and to whom actually matter? Wouldn't one cable each be plenty of internet to be going round?
Sadly not. These cables are susceptible to breakage due to sabotage from hostile countries, earthquakes and being eaten by sharks.
Canada?
So it makes sense to have at least a couple of sabotage from hostile countries, earthquakes and being eaten
They're great.
by sharks. So it makes sense to have at least a couple of spares.
In 2022, the Shetland Islands became even more remote when their key cable was shredded by an overzealous fishing boat.
I'll tell you who the killer was. It was... Ugh, Duncan must be home.
More importantly, the cables under the sea carry about $10 trillion worth of financial transactions every day.
And if those cables failed, nobody will be able to buy pink suitcases, funny hats, teddy bears or basketballs.
So if these cables are so completely critical to life in 2023, or whichever year it is where you are, shouldn't we be worried about who actually owns them?
Yes, we should, because increasingly these cables are being built by a very
It was the beginning of the internet.
small handful of powerful companies.
Google, Microsoft and Meta have spent billions of human dollars building their own massive private cables.
And this
Human
matters,
dollars.
partly because we all then become dependent on these largely unregulated companies for a crucial piece of 21st century infrastructure, but also, can we really be sure these tech giants aren't listening into their fancy hoses to collect yet more of the valuable private data belonging to you and me?
With so much of our daily technology use now wireless, be it the phone in your pocket or the router in the awkward bit of the drawer next to the TV, it's important to remind ourselves that the internet is not some invisible benevolent technology. It still requires physical things, servers, wires, data centers.
It's particularly telling that we refer to the mysterious
Wires, data centers.
It's particularly telling that we
World's
refer
most
to the
boring
mysterious
program.
netherworld where all the world's computers connect as the cloud, when it's actually on the bottom of the ocean, the opposite of a cloud.
So, next time you send an email, stream a TV show, or listen to the audio only of 20% of an episode of Map Men with the video minimized and a tab in the background, remember,
It's been through a layer of Vaseline.
Great video as always. Batman, Jay Foreman, awesome. Really interesting. I'd appreciate any comments, guys. I hope you're all doing well. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next video. Okay? Bye, guys.